Welcome back, hobby friends. We are here today to talk about the new question mark. If you've been paying attention in the hobby world, these aren't new per se, but they're new for us because retailers finally could get these beauties. These are the Artis Opus painting handles, and I just want to do sort of like a quick first impressions video. I did have a chance to sit down with Byron from Artis Opus in March at Adepticon this year, catch up with him a little bit, and he was chatting a little bit about these cool new little inventions of his, and among other things we were talking about. But this is my first kind of chance to kind of like really dive into them for myself and for the shop. So we're really excited to have these. The one thing I really love about Artis Opus and Byron and the guys there is they're very thoughtful about the products they make. So when they are designing something, they're usually trying to ask some pretty meaningful questions before they start their product development. And it usually starts with something as simple as like, what is it about brushes that miniature gamers or miniature painters aren't getting right now, or something like that, or with the painting handles, for example, what do people really need from a painting handle in terms of like ergonomics and usability and that sort of thing. So starting with a broad question and then kind of like doing a bunch of R&D to figure out what that actually looks like in a real product, as opposed to sort of making a product and then just kind of like selling it. Sometimes is how I feel with other types of things in this kind of category. He kind of chats a bit, so you can go online and like read the descriptions of these, and there's kind of like a funny story behind them about like why they look like eggs, and sort of the long process of getting to this point where they use these like I don't know what this material is. It's like a plasticky material, silicone. It's hard, but it's funny. They look literally like eggs, which is kind of like that nice sheen satin on them. And he talks about the process of developing the shape and then the material used, and they kind of go through these different materials, and then they talk about like mounting onto them, and then why they ended up with like the hollow cork system that they developed. And I guess the question everyone's asking is like, why more painting handles? And that's simply because like Byron especially, I can't speak for everyone in Artis Opus, Byron's the gentleman that I know, they're big painters. And so they talk to a lot of, he's been selling his brushes to high-end painters and chatting with those folks for many years, and developing products with that kind of feedback in mind. So a lot of people don't love the current offerings of painting handles out there for different reasons. And so he kind of set to work developing something that he would actually use himself. As a business owner myself, I kind of can relate to that, which is why, we built a hobby shop that's full of stuff that we want to use and we like using. So I can kind of understand that. So one of the things essentially was talking about how a lot of the current existing painting handles are a bit like holding a screwdriver. So a lot of them have like this like skinny, you're kind of like gripping it like a club or a racket or a tool. And that's not necessarily how people actually want to hold these, how you like naturally want to hold something in a sort of like a more comfortable way. So like, for example, like they would assume that everyone is like essentially doing this like baseball grip kind of thing. Whereas a lot of times people actually want to do something a bit more relaxed, which is a lot better for your hand, especially if you're doing like long-term painting solutions. And having this sort of like big kind of like shapely design, he calls it like, what are really comfortable things to hold in your hands? Pebbles, rocks. They have these like nice, smooth, easy to hold kind of shapes that just kind of nestle into your fingers and your hand in different ways, right? And that's the one thing I find right away with using these is they have, because of the shape, it can kind of find different spots in your hand to kind of get comfy. And so no matter what kind of how you hold it, it can kind of be, how you want to hold it. versus how you have to hold it. This one, I feel like you don't have to hold it in any particular way, which is kind of cool. You can kind of hold it how it feels comfortable to you versus some of the other ones, you really do have to almost like choke it. It's like you're choking somebody. You're like, so that's pretty cool. They have a nice bit of weight to them, which is nice. So they're not super light, so you're not going to drop them or whatever. And they have a bit of like presence to them. They don't knock over easy, which is kind of nice. They look good. I mean, that's got to count for something. And so next, let's talk about usability. So the kind of like cork thing that they've kind of settled on is sort of like trying to give everyone who uses these sort of like a different way they could use it, which is kind of interesting. So these are much, compared this to like sort of like the Citadel handle or whatever, this is more of a one painting handle system. So you're really not supposed to, I'm sure you could, and I'm sure Byron and the Artis Opus guys wouldn't mind too much. If you went out and bought like 5 or 10 of these, they'd be pretty happy. I would too, if you buy them from me. But it really is designed around you just getting one and using the one and using it sort of in a lot of different ways. So here's a couple of ways you can use it. They have these like bare corks. So like you could you could pin your models to the corks if you wanted to, which is a thing people have been doing for years. They've been using corks like painting handles for a long time, big fat corks. So you can kind of use that kind of, it's like, why reinvent the wheel, right? Like cork is like a really useful material, especially for pinning, because you can like keep putting pins in it and it kind of just keeps living forever. Or alternatively, you have the option of magnetizing. So some of the corks actually look like this. They have like a magnetic core, and you can put a magnet on the bottom of your Space Marine if you wanted to, and boop, click it onto there. You could put like, if you have like some of those like magnetized rubber sheets, they'd go right onto there as well. They have this if it's better. So this is just a piece of metal, which is if you have like if you for some reason polarized your thing the wrong way, you don't want to worry about that. You can just slam that on top of the metal and then pull it off, right? So really easy. And then you can either just use the one cork and pull the models off, depending on how you want to do it, or you can use sort of like the swappable cork method. So also, just talking about like, I just flipped it around and then all of a sudden I have a different shape again, right? So it really is a wonderful ergonomic kind of shape that you can kind of, actually think I would use it like big side up like that. Kind of just feels better with my hands curling down underneath and just kind of fits naturally there. And so you can kind of just use that, put it in, and kind of use it how you want, which is pretty neat. Now, the other cool thing is a lot of companies have sort of like this, well, we make one universal size and it's sort of like use it. We made the handle skinny so anyone can kind of grip it in whatever way they want. And while that is good, and it's good if you're going to make one product to kind of make it as universal as possible, it also means it's probably going to be less comfortable for most people to use, right? So what they've done, which is really cool, is they've actually made 3 sizes for this handle. So you've got the small, medium, and large. You've got the hen, duck, and the goose egg, and they all have different sizes and weights to them, and then the different size corks as well, right? So you've got the large boy here. He's quite chonky, and the nice thing is if you have really big hands, you have not been neglected for the first time ever in the market. You actually have a painting handle you can use that feels right for your hand size. I'm actually probably just on the border of this feeling great. My hands aren't huge, but they're big. So yeah, actually, I'm not sure. I haven't made my mind up yet if I'm a medium or a large. So they both kind of feel pretty good. I probably will end up leaning towards the medium one just because it's lighter. And if I'm not, like I said, if it's not uncomfortable to use, which it's not, I think I'll be okay with the medium one, to be honest. And then even people with smaller hands, right? Like some people just have tiny hands, and it's nice that you can get the wee little hen and use this, which is well. Even the small one feels quite good in its own different way. That's the cool thing about these shapes is they just kind of fit nicely into your hand. Hence the kind of pebble or rock analogy they use when they're describing these on their website. It does really kind of feel that way, where it just kind of fits into your hand, and it finds a place in your hand and gets into a groove and kind of just nestles there and feels nice. So I'm really excited to finally get my hands on this. I'll probably pick up the duck guy here And what I want to do, which is what we do with all the new stuff here on the channel and in the shop, to be honest, is we like giving our first impressions, and then we're going to kind of use it for a little while. So whatever I'm painting next, I've got some Solar Auxilia line infantry. So that's going to be a good test because I've got about 20 of them. So what I'll do is I'll magnetize all their bases and I'll just pop them on, pop them off, and I'll get to test how this little technology works. It's not really technology, it's metal, but for that purposes. And yeah, so I kind of like the fact that you could still, because it's got the cork, you can still, like if I had some crew models for a vehicle, I could just buy some separate corks because they sell them in like little packs of 5. I could just buy a bunch, pin all my crew bits and stuff to these, and still use the painting handle to paint the weapons or crew guys, half bodies and stuff that don't have bases quite easily with this thing, which is kind of neat. I like that. I like easy. I like thoughtful. They did have the advantage of being like pretty last to market, right? Like Citadel's had painting handles for years. And I think for those of you that liked the first wave Citadel paint handle, the one that was like quite a bit chonkier, I think this is going to be quite a bit appealing to you because it has a bit more of that chonk, which is, like I said, a lot of those like current era painting handles are quite thin. And I think that's like honestly a material cost thing. I think a lot of companies are like, yeah, we're not gonna use a bunch of like extra plastic if we don't have to. The other thing I love about this is it's made in the UK, which is cool. So that's the other great thing I love about the Artis Opus guys is they make everything. Well, I should say they make most of their birch stuff, their boxes, their shelving unit things, and now they make all of these all in house, which is really cool. And the brushes are ghost built in the UK as well, which is nice. So yeah, I mean, I don't live there. I have family there, so it's nice to know that it's supporting the local economy. And in a world where everything is imported from out east, it's nice to see things that are high quality and still made in the West, which is cool. Nothing against stuff that's made in China. You get a lot of high quality stuff there as well. But it is cool to see some people still trying to make things where they live. I think that's awesome. I think it's bold and it's really cool. And I definitely like supporting that kind of thing, right? Even if it costs a little bit more, I'm getting a high quality thing that was made with a lot of thoughtfulness where the person lives, which is really, really cool. So yeah, I'll let you guys know my thoughts after. Maybe I'll do a touchback after I paint that 20 blob and give you guys like a follow-up video on what I think. I'm going to do another video this week just comparing all the painting handle options, what you can get out there right now. And just show you kind of feature-wise without giving too much bias in what I've used and that sort of thing, and kind of go from there. So let me know what you guys think of the new Artis Opus painting handles. Have you gotten a chance to hold them yet? They really do feel quite lovely in your hands. If you're at a convention, go find the Artis Opus guys. I know Byron's always working those booths, smooth talking people into picking up some cool products. And let me know what your experience has been with these kind of things, and if you've had any yet, and if you want to have an experience. As always, if you want to support the channel, you can buy these directly from us if you're in Canada. If you're not in Canada, you can still buy them from us. You just have to shoot us an email, lordsofwarstore.com, or just message us through Facebook or YouTube or Shopify off our website. Like, there's a million ways to contact us, and we can send you a cool little egg in the mail. Thanks again for watching, guys. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.